segment of the show for this morning. And of course, we've been joined by Miss Kathy Buckner. Miss Buckner is a former member of the Matthew 25 homeless organization, and she is also a member of the homeless project that Mr. Daniels and Miss Greenlee are a part of. And of course, Miss Buckner, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you.
And let me tell you, Miss Buckner, how delighted we are to have you here, because we know that you've been involved with the homeless population for quite a while, and that one of those organizations that you've been involved in is a very, very successful organization in Nashville, yes. And that was Matthew 25.
Right, I worked there.
Let's talk about that, and then leading up to your new activity involved in the homeless project that we talked about earlier.
Okay, and it's the Nashville Homeless Power Project. It's
Nashville
the name of
homeless,
that organization.
very good.
Yes. I worked at Matthew 25 for 12 years as a program director. And it was a successful program that actually helped. I worked with homeless vets to get them off the street. There are at least 500 homeless veterans on the street in any one night here in Nashville. There's already homeless individuals coming back from this war homeless. Before I left there and started working with the Nashville Homeless Power Project, there were already 2 that came in December. And so I know there are going to be more from this war homeless than are now homeless from the Vietnam War. Right, because most veterans are Vietnam veterans. I was solicited by the Nashville Homeless Power Project to actually come in and work with them because of my work with the Homeless Commission. And it is extremely important that Nashville is true to their promise. As the Homeless Commission, we were one of the 10 key cities that the mayor's office set us up, because he was over that program, to be one of the key cities that actually had a program to end chronic homelessness in the next 10 years. And we are sorely behind in our promise to do that. And that's one of the things I'm working on with the Nashville Homeless Power Project, is to do what we call the Housing Options Program, which will also work towards getting some housing that will be run by formerly homeless and formerly homeless people to serve homeless and formerly homeless people, because we know best what the problems are and know how to deal with the population and want to be able to do that. But the city also needs to make good on their promise, because there is a need for a service center downtown or somewhere else where people can get in out of the elements, that they can use a restroom, that they can get something to eat without having to do panhandling. And it is our responsibility as a community to not have people sleeping in places where,
under the bridges,
right, where humans are not supposed to be sleeping.
You know, as a matter of fact, you know, it simply occurs to me that you've had an opportunity to be involved in this for a long time, and do you see any real progress that we've made in Nashville over the last many years dealing with this as an issue? That is, more housing, more shelter for the disadvantaged individuals, those individuals who might fall into the homeless category?
Unfortunately, we have with our Hope 6 programs or whatever, torn down public housing and put back housing that is better, because we do recognize that public housing clusters do not work. But the people who are moving into those units are not the people who moved out of them. And so there's not enough housing that is based on somebody's income, that is for people who are waiting on disability that don't have an income. I mean, this country, I mean, this city, this state actually takes...
This country,
yes, ma'am,
this country.
We are the slowest, we're number 50th on the fact that it takes at least 18 months for when somebody has a heart attack or a stroke or something that physically happens to them before they could get disability. And why does somebody have to become homeless, lose everything they had, worked for, had, in order to be able to get what they worked for? And that's how it happens a lot of the time in this country. This also is about a third of the homeless in Nashville have mental health issues, and there's not any help for them. There's not any housing, not enough housing. There's a little bit, but there's not enough outreach workers to go out there and say, okay, this person is having a problem, needs medication, needs supervision, needs help. Instead, they're using the jail system and the Department of Correction as shelter, and that's not right. It's really not right. And unfortunately, their own reports reflect that. They had 91 people arrested 5,000 times. And it's obvious that they have mental health issues.
Okay,
and so it would have taken less money to have supported those people with wraparound services than it is to have paid for us to lock them up that 5,000 times.
You know, I'm curious about this service center, because I think that that too is a much needed kind of thing, if I understand the concept. That is to have some kind of facility located at an appropriate places. You might not necessarily be one center, but several centers located at appropriate. So people who are walking around, and I thought of this during the summertime when we were facing that 103, 104 degree weather, and you know, I'd be riding around in the comfort of my air conditioning, and then I'd look out and I'd see people who are standing on the corner with absolutely no effort, nothing to get them out of the sun at all, and that's a real problem, I think.
It is. And the fact that Nashville does provide like the little porta potties in some parks, but not the ones downtown, not where homeless people are. And they don't want the homeless people downtown. And so they're acting like that just not providing services is going to get them to move. And, you know, we as a community should be providing a quality of life and safety and living for all of our citizens. That means the ones that are homeless as well as those that are moving to the downtown area. Whoever decided that it was okay for them to just demolish the park downtown, that without a public hearing or without any kind of
Would they eliminated one of the parks downtown that
they tore it down because homeless people were resting there in the daytime.
Well, now, where does a person without a home, without shelter, in a real sense, where does that person rest at? I mean, you walk from one place to another, but there has to be some time during the day that you just get tired. You want to sit down and go. You can't go into any establishments, can you?
No, you can't.
Well, what do you do when
and
you get
like I said, they'd rather lock people up than provide services. They've built benches now where somebody can't even just lay down at night on the bench because they put that little metal bar in the middle. The little plant stands that are downtown, there's no places just for somebody to sit if they're needing to rest. They've got little spikes on them. This town is not friendly to people who are in need, and especially for those with mental health issues and are needing services. They're just acting like they should just go away. And it's not, it is our responsibility to provide for people who cannot provide for themselves.
Well, this, in a real sense, Ms. Buckner, over the last minute and a half we have here, let me have you respond to this. That in a real sense, this is more than just a homeless issue. This is really a human issue. It's an issue indicating the care that the people have, the government has in reference to its people. Would that be a fair assessment? That's
true. And even though I want to say something about the mission, the mission has become an address and not a place for temporary shelter, and it shouldn't be. You know, they're not doing their job if they're not moving people off the streets, and it's not happening. The mission and both the men and the women's mission is full at night, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, not if we are doing
what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Okay, and Ms. Buckner, let me thank you over the last half minute that we have here. Not only you, but Mr. Daniel Brown and Ms. Clemmy Greenlee, for coming by and giving us that excellent information in reference to this homeless situation. But as we said, that we think it's greater than just being homeless. It has to do with the attitude that the government and the community takes toward other unfortunate and disadvantaged individuals.
Right,
and of course, let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.